Welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are getting ready for a great weekend or have started on a great weekend. Welcome, Reid Hum. Hi, Di Rizel. Good to see many of our subscribers in the class. Nice to see our members. Silviana, good to see you in the class. Chayani, Fuang. Happy to have you all with me for this IELTS listening class. This will be a listening part 1 and part 2 focus. We will do part 3 and part 4 next week. The topic here is customer complaint and volunteering in these listening sections or these listening parts. Again, this material is coming from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. We produce our own IELTS practice exams. They are exactly like your real IELTS exams with the same level of difficulty and types of questions. And this is a subscribers chat class. So if you want to join the chat and join in on the fun, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell, the notification button so that you know when these live classes are happening and so that you get access to a lot of goodies and you know about our most recent video releases. The websites that we will use today will be this one for academic, aehelp.com. Click this big red button that's just above my head right there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center. I'm a certified British Council agent. You're in good hands with us. Students, for general IELTS, it's the green background. Click that big red button. When you do that, you can use a code, a discount code on the checkout. Again, it's a one-time payment. Enter the code history. 99. It's coming from our most recent video release. You'll get a 10% discount from the premium course. You'll see the cost in your own local currency to make things easier. And students, now you can use Google Pay. I forgot to say that last class, but we're upgrading our materials or websites all the time. You have credit card, PayPal, Google Pay, so we're making it more and more accessible for everybody to get these materials so that you can get ready for your test. You can download the apps, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help from your app stores. They link to the websites. You can follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. Check that out. And if you have questions, let me know. Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. All right, students. Right now listening. Tomorrow I will have a couple of more classes for you as well. So tomorrow, join me for speaking part 2 for members and speaking part 3 for everyone. This is the time according to the Universal Standard Time. And always check out our new videos. There, I just put that one into the chat. We've got that speaking video for you. So practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Listening strategies. Let's get into the listening section, everyone. Without further ado. If you have questions about our courses or about other parts of IELTS, you can ask Carolina as well. She's our chat moderator. Welcome, Carolina. I see that you're already helping some of our viewers. That's fantastic. Listening strategies. Strategy number 1, firstly, okay, when you are starting the listening section and you hear the instructions, be sure to check the topic of each of the 4 parts. Okay, so we're going to do that just so you get your brain moving. Okay, so get your brain thinking about these ideas. It's a great way to start. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to listen. We're going to answer the questions. We're going to listen to part 1 first. So I'm not going to give you any more info here. I just simply want you to listen, answer the questions. Don't put the answers in the chat, please. Put the answers separately so that everybody has a fair chance. And then we'll go through the questions at the end together, okay? So if you have a headset, it's a good idea. In the IELTS, you will be using, or you should be using, a headset. The exam center should provide one for you. Whether you're doing the paper-based or the computer-based, you can take notes during the listening, but you need to answer as you listen. So be really careful about that. Okay, so I'm going to hop over to our website here. I'm going to enter my student account. And I'm going to open up the audio CDs. Now, if you have access to our premium package, you have all of these CDs here for all of the practice exams and reading materials. And this is going to be CD 5, track 1, because it's our 5th exam that we're into. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Listen and follow with me. Answer in a separate document.
This recording is copyrighted by 2 Think One Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings, and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Listening Section 1. You will hear a conversation between 2 people as one tries to return a defective product. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Good afternoon. I bought a product from your store 1 week ago, and I've been having difficulties getting it to work properly.
Of course, sir. Do you have the original receipt from the purchase? The first piece of information I need is the date you purchased the product.
Yes, I actually have it right here. I purchased it 8 days ago, on the 6th of July.
The 6th of July. Great.
The man says he purchased the item on July 6th, so this answer has been indicated for you. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good afternoon. I bought a product from your store 1 week ago, and I've been having difficulties getting it to work properly.
Of course, sir. Do you have the original receipt from the purchase? The first piece of information I need is the date you purchased the product.
Yes, I actually have it right here. I purchased it 8 days ago, on the 6th of July.
The 6th of July. Great. I also need the name of the product as indicated on the receipt.
Certainly. The receipt shows it as SOJO 232XD.
SOJO 232XD?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, yes. I see the product in my records now. It is a 23-inch computer monitor?
Yes, that's correct.
Now tell me, did you buy the extended warranty on the monitor?
No, I did not. I always feel like those warranties are a bit of a scam.
Perhaps, until you need the warranty?
Perhaps. But there must be some sort of manufacturer's warranty, right?
There may be. Let me check for you. Okay. Yes, it seems there is a manufacturer's warranty. The warranty is for 60 days. 2 months.
Great. Then I shouldn't encounter any problems in returning it.
Well, actually, we only accept returns for a week after purchase. Since you purchased the computer monitor 8 days ago, you'll have to deal directly with the manufacturer.
How annoying. What steps must I take then?
Well, the company that makes the monitor has a depot in Birmingham. You must post it to them.
Okay. Do you have their address?
Yes, it's on Edgbaston Park Road and...
Hold on. You'll have to spell Edgbaston for me. I've never heard of it.
Of course. It is spelled Edgbaston.
And then the rest of the address?
The address number is 89 and the unit number is 5.
Okay. So 89 Edgbaston Park Road, Unit 5.
That's right. And the postcode is B152RU.
B152RU?
That's right.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
Great, but one concern I have is the cost of posting something as large as a computer monitor.
Indeed. Such a product must weigh a few kilos and will certainly set you back some money to post. Let me see if the company takes such a problem into consideration.
Well, that would certainly be nice if they did.
Yes, it seems they do. They have a program in place where they pay postage for the exchange of goods under manufacturer warranty or product recall.
That's great news. What do I have to do to use this service?
It's fairly simple. You just call their Birmingham depot and request a prepaid postage voucher. Then you take the item to the post office along with the voucher, and the post office will take care of the rest.
Sounds simple enough. Do you have a phone number for the depot in Birmingham?
Yes, you can reach them on 0121 496 0633. Oh, and be sure to call during business hours. They're open from 10 in the morning until 6 in the evening.
10 until 6, understood. One final question. What would I have had to do to return the monitor if I had purchased the extended warranty from your store?
Well, the process would have been much simpler, sir. You could have simply brought it into the return desk at your local store. We would have given you your choice of a new monitor, your cash back, or store credit in the amount of 110% of the original cost of the item.
110% store credit? Wow, that seems too good to be true.
Well, company policy is that we want satisfied customers, and when they are not satisfied, we feel the need to compensate them for this in some small measure.
Perhaps next time I'll buy the extended warranty. How much would it have cost on the monitor I bought?
Only £20.
£20 would have been well worth it to save me the trouble of dealing directly with the manufacturer.
Well, now you know, sir.
Indeed I do. Thanks again.
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, students, so that is part 1 of the listening. They don't call it section 1 anymore, they call it part 1. So part 1 of the listening. It's the listening section and it has 4 parts, part 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so I used a few different strategies during this part 1 listening exercise, and we will go through these together as well as the answers. We'll go through these together. So just this strategy that I was showing you at the beginning, when you're starting the listening section and you hear the instructions, check each of the topics of the 4 parts. So here, obviously, part 1 was returning an item, right? So returning an item. What is part 2 about? Anybody? So I highlighted some key words there. Remember in part 2 when I was kind of skimming over part 2, I highlighted the word radio show, and then there was this question that was 4 questions in one, and it says applies to volunteering, applies to charitable giving. When you see this kind of a question at the start where you have to choose the category, it's this or that, you can definitely realize that the topic will be the choices that they're giving you there. Okay, so you're right, Chen, it's a radio show, but more importantly, what is this radio show about? So it's about volunteering and charitable giving. So volunteering and charity, right? So I realized by looking at this question that applies to all 4 of these, and then even more of these down there, that it's about charity. Okay, so this piece is about charity. So part 2, volunteering and charity. Part 3, what is that about? So what was part 3 about? Again, there were some key words there, and when you skim over these during that 90-second introduction time, you're looking for those key words that are repeating again and again, okay? And so here, when I was kind of skimming through this, I realized that one word that kept repeating here was the word trade. Okay, here it was free trade. Okay, then there was free trade again. You just kind of see that, yeah, so Chen says it's about trade. Fuang agrees, and that's good, yeah. So you want to think about, what do I know about trade? How does trade work? There are taxes involved, there are rules involved, regulations, there's free trade, there's controlled trade. So trade has been around for a long time. It's important for humans because we trade for products that we need or that we want, right? So trade. And part 4 is usually an easy one to figure out because they give you the topic at the very start of the listening questions. So here, part 4, as soon as we get to it, you see the title. It's very obvious. It's like, boom, there it is, Michelangelo, right? Now, who is Michelangelo? Well, if you don't know Michelangelo, it will certainly be slightly more difficult. I'm sure Domenico could tell us lots about Michelangelo since it's close to home. Michelangelo, a very, very famous Renaissance sculptor, painter, architect, famous person in history, especially in European history. So Michelangelo, yeah. And then you kind of, even if you don't know Michelangelo, you can kind of read the first sentence. While Michelangelo is perhaps most famous for painting the Sistine Chapel, he is also famous for a number of other highly respected works. So you realize that he's some kind of an artist, okay? All right. So here, I know that it's about Michelangelo. If I can spell his name, Michelangelo. There we go. Okay, so now my brain has these topics kind of locked in, and I'm not going to be so surprised. So when I get to part 4 and suddenly the professor is like, let's talk about the famous painter Michelangelo, then I'm not like, what? Painter? Who is this guy? So I don't get all crazy and freaked out and start drawing a blank screen. But I realized, okay, I'm like, yeah, I saw it was going to be coming. So I had this kind of painter in my head, and I'm not shocked. I'm not having a freak out because that happens. I've seen that happen to so many candidates where they just suddenly just like they go from this listening to this like face like they just suddenly saw an alien, and it's like, whoa, no, don't get the alien face going, okay? Yeah, I can see Fuang and Koji Kabar are like, what? Okay, so prepare yourself, prepare your mind for each of the topics of listening so that you're not shocked and your brain's going to work better, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the listening questions now. You saw me highlight some words and some interesting movement. It's very important to practice the pacing, so the speed of the audio. Okay. So one other important point, if you're studying from exams that are pre-2020, you're going to see this example. There's no example in current exams. They took it out. Okay, so that's another interesting little change that they've made. All right. Mira Mohammed says Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Leonardo are Ninja Turtles, right? Mira, that's right. That's because Master Splinter, the rat, named them after these famous characters. So the Ninja Turtle Michelangelo, one word, is named after this famous painter, sculptor, Michelangelo. So those Ninja Turtles get their names from these famous Italian people in history. Okay, so number one, let's start with that. What product did the man purchase? Students, multiple choice. Tip number one. Listen for the answer, not the question. Here it was actually the woman that said it. So you purchased a 20-something inch. I can't remember exactly, but a 20-something inch. What was the correct answer here? Everybody should get this. Harjot says it was B, a computer monitor. Yeah, absolutely. So the woman says, you purchased a 27-inch computer monitor. Is that right? And the man says, yes, I did. Okay, now this is a popular type of multiple choice question where you have, we call it the multiple choice. Okay, multiple choice question. Take notes. Do not stare at the answers. A lot of people make this huge mistake with these multiple choice questions where they just kind of tend to really kind of stare powerfully at all of the choices. Nope, they're not popping out. That's what they hope. They hope that suddenly they'll hear something and the answer will be like, pow, there it is, pow, there it is. Sometimes that works. Usually not, especially not in part 3 and 4 where the answers are way longer. Like here, it's just a couple of words, so you might get lucky. But no, the answers don't just pop out at you. It's not English, so it would be some strange game or something. So they don't actually pop out at you, right? So instead, and you often get the wrong answers that way, right? So instead, you want to hear the answers and take notes. This is for those of you who are doing the computer-based exam. This is where you want to use that note paper, okay? It's important. Everybody catch that? Thumbs up. So computer-based exam, this is where you want to use your note paper. Paper-based, of course, you're using your note paper here, right? So the question is, what 2 pieces of information are required to access the record of the purchase? I took some notes. These were my notes. Date of purchase, receipt, name of product. Okay. Do I see it? Purchase date. That one. Name of product. Okay, that one. Good. They're there. So those ones match with my notes. Right? So very easy for me to get that correct as long as my notes are correct. Okay, as long as I'm hearing it correctly. If you're waiting for them to pow out at you, A lot of students get really disappointed. I hear it all the time. Like, I didn't get any of those. I was just staring, and it's gone. And I'm like, at the next question. And then I realized that the next question answer was gone. This one here was gone because I was still waiting for this one here. And I was just staring at all of these 6 choices. But then like this was gone. And then I'm like, no, where am I now? And then I'm like, okay, postcode. I got that one. Okay, because they're like, the postcode is, and they're dictating. Woo! I only missed 3. Yeah, no, it's a bad, and then you're stressing, and then you hate everybody at IELTS, and you hate the world. No, that's not good. Okay. So, notes. All right. That way, when they're talking about it and they say, okay, I need the name of the product, I need the purchase date, and then they're like, okay. And this is not the answer. SOJO232XD is not the answer, because that's what she finds with those 2 pieces of information, right? So once she knows the purchase date and the name of the product, then she's like, oh, you bought the SOJO computer monitor. And he's like, yeah, that's right. Okay, so E and F are the correct answers. All right. So careful. Mira, even if you find the listening test fairly simple, using the correct strategy gives you confidence that you're getting the right answers. So you definitely want to use good strategy for these listening tests, just so that you're confident. You're not like, did I get a good mark? When I did the IELTS exam and I used these strategies, I was like 99% sure that I got a band 9. I was like, I'm pretty sure I got a band 9. All right. And I did get a band 9. Okay, so let's see this one, right? No more than 2 words and or a number. Warranty length. I listened for key piece of information to make sure I position myself. They said 60 days. So I knew I was in the right place in the audio. Then they said Birmingham. So I knew I was in the right place in the audio. And then they gave the address. And I mean, part 1 is the easiest. So don't get too cocky. Don't get too confident. Okay. Sometimes what happens, and I've never said this before, but it's an interesting thought, is don't get overconfident. So stay serious, stay focused. Okay. Actually, I'll put this in my other notes here for you. What happens is people get overconfident in part 1, and then they kind of don't really pay attention anymore, and then they have a hard time in part 2. So do not get overconfident in part 1 just because it's easy. Okay. Pay attention and stick to strategy. Okay, so don't be like, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm going to ace this. And then comes part 2, and then the person's like, what? So don't be like that, right? It's not a game of how good are you. It's just a process, right? You're doing a job. You're getting all the answers correct, right? Okay. So don't be like easy peasy lemon squeezy. What? All right. So back to point. Okay. What was the answer here? So just serious all the way. If you've got a bit of extra time left over from part 1, great. By the way, part 1, you're going for a perfect score anyway, right? You want to get 9 or 10 correct. So what was the address? Yeah, Edge Bastion, Akira, that's right. And they spell it, right? So Edge Bastion, you can write all capitals, especially it's easy to do in the computer-based exam, but I would write it correctly. So 89 Edge Bastion, Park Road, Unit 5. That's the correct answer. And you want to make sure the spelling's correct. If you're doing the paper-based, only write the capitals in the answer sheet, not in the question sheet. In the question sheet, write all small letters, and then when you transfer to the answer sheet, write all big letters so that you're not making mistakes with the capitalization. Okay? All right. So, postcode. What is the postcode of the depot in Birmingham where this man has to send the broken or defective computer monitor? Anybody get that? Make sure that when you're practicing for the IELTS, you practice dictation, so listening and writing down credit card numbers, addresses, postal codes, because I guarantee you that you will have this in your IELTS exam, okay? B152RU. B152RU. Yeah, that's correct. B152RU it is. Okay, now, in order to get free delivery on product returns, the customer must telephone the depot and request a prepaid what? This was a bit more challenging. Usually the last couple of questions in part one can be a little bit challenging. Black Panther is asking, can I use synonym words like smart, but the answer is clever? In some cases, yes, but it's not a good idea usually. Okay, usually you want to use the exact word that you hear in the audio. But yes, in part 2, 3, and 4, especially Black Panther, as long as you have the exact synonym, they will mark it correct in many cases for a word like smart and clever. Okay. Harjad says posted vouchers. Raquea says posted vouchers. Word form, very important in IELTS. Students, word forms, really pay attention to word forms in the IELTS, okay? So pay very careful attention to word form. Okay, so whether it's an adjective, adverb. Here, the adjective is postage. Voucher. Unfortunately, if you put posted voucher, you'll get it wrong. It's postage. Postage. Postage stamp, postage voucher, postage fee, postage. Okay, Chen, good. Postage voucher. What is the phone number for the depot? So for this man to call the depot, what's the number? Again, dictation. Very important. All right. And the chat is hiding it because it thinks you're sharing your phone number with the world. But no, it's 0121496. 0121496 0633 0633. I've noticed since I've been teaching IELTS, here's some good news, an interesting fact, everybody. You might find this kind of neat. I have noticed that since I've been teaching IELTS, so I've been teaching IELTS for about 20 years, and one interesting detail that I've noticed in my 20 years of teaching English, and I've been teaching English even more, but for IELTS, is that people around the world are much better today than 10 years ago when it comes to understanding phone numbers or addresses. They're much more accurate. It's like everybody gets it correct now. And 20 years ago or 15 years ago, a lot of people got these answers wrong. That makes me believe that we are becoming more global. People are becoming better at English globally, and people are using English even more and more today than in 2005. Just because I think people are hearing numbers and addresses more and more in English. Through technology, that's right, Raquia, through the internet and other, but Raquia, at the end of the day, that is globalization. So amazing. I can literally see how the world is becoming more global and better at English overall. So fantastic. That's incredible. One day, maybe in my lifetime, we will become a unified, single human culture with a single goal to be awesome, and then we'll start working on time travel and talking with aliens and all of the other bigger goals that we can go for once we're one big happy family all across the world. But we're definitely going in that direction, everyone. That's the good news. I can see it. I can see it in these live classes. That's really cool. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these other multiple choice questions. Right? We just need to stop a couple of oddballs from fighting each other and throwing rocks at each other, and then we can all be a bigger, better world. Just a couple of silly people who can't stop throwing stones at each other and thinking about their own pockets. Okay, anyway, number 8, multiple choice. Multiple choice, turn them into answers, paraphrase them. Okay, so number 8 here says, for how many hours is the depot open each day? You usually don't hear questions in the audio. So you don't, sometimes you do. I mean, sometimes you might hear the guy say something like, well, and how many hours is it open? Right? But you usually hear these as statements. So you usually hear the audio, somebody say, the post office is open from, or the depot is open from this time to this time. Now, I heard it, and again, for multiple choice, notes are really good. And here it says from 10 till 6. So all I would do for my notes is this, 10 to 6. I actually wouldn't even write the 2. I would just write that, 10 to 6. So we know the correct answer is B. It's 8, right? Because 10 to 6, 8 hours, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so B. And then here was the next one. Which 3? So number 9, and this is just one question, so tough news. You have to get all 3 correct to pick up the 1 point. Which 3 options are customers given upon returning an item having purchased the warranty? Notes, take notes. These were in my notes here. I wrote, it's simpler, it's easier. It's like, ooh, it's easy. You can get a new monitor. What does that mean? I can exchange it, right? I can trade it for a new monitor. I can get money back. They'll just be like, here's your cash. Goodbye. And 110% store credit. Ooh, it's exciting. All right. So which ones match? Okay, then it's just a matching game. Which ones match? 110. Boom, that one. Okay. Which other ones? Cash back. Ooh, that one. New monitor. New one. That one. ADE. Okay. So correct answers. A, D, E. There. Works. Right? So take notes, okay? Twice in this one part, they had these multiple choice. The woman mentions an item that costs 20 pounds. What is this item? That should have been easy. What is it, students? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? You give me the answer. What do you think? What costs 20 pounds? Is it a new computer monitor? That would be a very cheap computer monitor. The extended warranty? Maybe. The manufacturer's warranty? I think that's free. The correct answer is extended warranty. Manufacturer's warranty, everyone, that's usually free. You shouldn't be, that's free. Okay, doesn't make sense. I gotta work on that. Doesn't make sense. There you go. Oh, what is he doing? It's like the buzzer, right? You know, like in the talent shows when it's like you're out, computer monitor, you're out. You have a big X button. 20 £20 for a computer monitor? No, it's stolen. Okay, if you're buying a computer monitor for £20 and it's new, it's stolen. Don't buy it. No new computer. Even the cheapest computer monitor is not going to cost you £20. Okay, it's way too cheap. All right. All right, so there we go. Students, quick question before we go to part 2. How did you do there? So what did you get from 10? First 10 marks of part 1. Okay. What did you get? How many did you get correct? Ideally, it's a 10. On a great day, it's a 9. On a bad day, it's less than 9. Zippy says, I got 10. Zippy, you're on the right track. Chayani got 9. Akira got 9. Art Hub, 7. You got to work on it. Chen, 8. Careful. You don't want to be losing marks in part 1. Part 1 is easy. It doesn't get easier than part 1. If you're losing marks in part 1, ay caramba, you're going to be in trouble for the rest of it. Okay, so really work hard. D.I. Rizel. Yeah, careful. Okay. So you got to get 9 or more, right? 9 or greater. All right, that's your goal. Let's do part 2. Let's see how we do in part 2. Remember, part 2 is going to be a radio show. And now, for some people that are like easy peasy lemon squeezy, now is when you might be like, ooh, part 2 is so much harder than part 1. It's IELTS. It increases in difficulty, but the biggest difference is between part 1 and 2. So I've done a lot of IELTS exams, and I always find like the difference between part 1 and 2 is massive. I don't know why they do that. It's like part 1 is quite easy, and then part 2 is a really big jump. But maybe there's no way to kind of make it a little bit easier, but yeah, part 2 is a pretty big jump in difficulty for sure. Okay, so you'll see. So don't panic, don't freak out. It's about volunteering and charitable giving. Part 2 is going to start right now. Again, put your answers in a separate sheet, and then we'll share them after. Okay. Once again, for everybody watching, it's a subscribers chat class. You just need to subscribe to join the chat. Here we go, everybody. Let's start with part 2.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening section 2. You will hear a recording of a radio news magazine discussing the importance of doing good in the community. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
Hello, I'm Emma Robertson, and I'd like to welcome our listeners to Beyond the Lens, the programme that aims to dig deeper on issues in culture and society. Today we have Professor Hudson McMahon from the University of Bristol's Department of Social Policy. Hello, Professor McMahon. Do you want to tell us a little about what you'll be presenting today?
Of course, Emma. But first, I'd like to thank you for having me on the show. My wife and I are both avid listeners of Beyond the Lens, and it's a bit of a thrill to be on the show. But I digress. Today, I want to talk about the importance of doing good in the community and in society. There are many ways of doing this, but the 2 most common ways are volunteering and giving to charity. However, these methods of improving community and society have an important difference. While volunteering one's time is almost always a positive for society, giving to charity is significantly more problematic.
Problematic, Professor McMahon? It would seem to me that giving to charity is always a positive for society. We celebrate those among us who are the greatest donors to charity.
Yes, and in general, it is warranted. I do want to clarify. In general, giving to charity is good, but one must be very careful for two reasons. First, some charities do not do sufficient amounts of charitable good per pound. And second, some charities receive too much money that could be spent better on other causes. Let me discuss each of these in turn.
This seems to me a rather radical thesis.
It seems that way, but I hope to convince you otherwise by the end of the program. Now, getting back to charities. Some charities simply do not give a lot of their received monies to the actual performance of good acts. For instance, some charities utilize less than 10% of their donations on actual charitable activities. The rest goes to salaries, promotion, and other overhead costs. So for a donation of £100, it may be the case that less than £10 actually goes to helping someone.
That sounds terrible, but it still helps people, right?
Well, yes. But as charitable givers, we should try and reward those charities who do most good with the least amount of money. By that I mean that those thinking of donating to charity should do research on a charity before giving to the cause. There are other charities where more than 50% of donations go to the end cause. These charities are much more deserving of your patronage.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
Another reason to be discerning when it comes to your choice of charities is what I call the relative utility of a charitable donation.
Let me take a guess here, Professor McMahon. Is the relative utility of a donation how much good it does relative to other donations?
That's just about it, Emma. The relative utility of a donation is how much good a donation does per amount spent. For instance, the disease MND, motor neuron disease, was in the news in recent years, and MND charities received a windfall of donations. This sounds all well and good, but there is a problem. Unlike, say, heart disease, MND does not affect very many people. While it would be wonderful to cure the disease, there are better allocations of our limited charity funds.
Wait, so you're saying it was bad for people to give to MND charities?
Not quite, only that it was suboptimal. Because there is a limited supply of money given to charity each year, it is important that it is used at least somewhat optimally. And allocating overwhelming amounts of money to a disease that affects very low percentage of people is extremely suboptimal.
That's very interesting, Professor McMahon. So how can our listeners try and optimize their charitable gifts?
First of all, don't be caught up in viral social media campaigns. Instead, use such moments to remind yourself of the importance of giving to charity in general, and not just to niche causes with good promotion. And second, do your research. Before you donate, look up how much of a charity's donation go to the actual end goal. Additionally, look up how many people are affected by the charity's end cause. The more people there are affected, and the worse they are affected, the more likely you should be to donate to that cause. It is all about maximizing good in the world.
That certainly sounds like a noble goal, but if everyone donates...
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, just hopping back to the website here, and we're going to stop the audio and go over. Always use that half minute to check your answers. So sometimes students make a mistake and they go to the next part. They start looking at part 3. They'll give you time to look at those questions in part 3. They'll give you more time for that. Use the half a minute to check your answers. It's very important because often students will catch 1 or 2 mistakes that they made with spelling or with the instructions. So check your answers in that time. All right. What is the name of this radio show? They say it twice. The woman says, "Welcome to this episode of," and then the man also says, "My wife and I are big fans of this show," and says the name again. Okay. So give me the Bogdan says it's Beyond the Lands. Zippy says The Lens. Nope. People have a lot of difficulty with this one. Catching names can be tricky. Absolutely. It's Beyond. I don't see a lot of answers coming up. Sylviana says Beyond the Lanes. It's Beyond the Lens. That's the name. It's a little bit of a tough one, but they say it twice. It's one of those ones that's kind of testing for that band 9 level. So this makes sense, the name Beyond the Lens, if you think about it. So it's basically like you have the camera, okay? That's my camera right there. So you have the camera, okay? And of course, many of you know that this is the lens of the camera. Okay? So beyond the lens means like beyond the lens, okay? The issues, the topics, the people that we're dealing with, that's beyond, past the lens, right? So it's not beyond the lanes, Sylviana. That was a good guess. It was the closest one. But it's beyond the lens, beyond the camera lens. Chen, that's a much nicer camera. Here, let me add those reels to it. And then there. Now it's a better camera. There you go, Chen. All right, so beyond the lens. Listen for that repetition. Beyond the lens. Beyond the lens. When you miss it, and you were close, like Sylviana, when you were close like that, listen to it again so that you can hear the pronunciation and go, okay, I get it. I see what was going on. That was a tough one. It's a tough start to part 2. Okay. So here the professor is talking about, and part 2 is often this kind of like conversation. So the professor is talking about volunteering and charitable giving. Okay, so he's comparing the two. Volunteering, you give your time. Charitable giving, you give something you own, like money, clothes, food. That's charitable giving. Okay, so volunteering is giving your effort and your time. Charitable giving, you're giving your money or food that you have or clothes that you own. Okay. Yeah, Chayani, you were close. You were close, but it's lens. Maybe it was just a typo. Careful with those. Okay, so here we go. Or neither. So you have to choose A, B, or C. So volunteering, charity, or neither. This is a common type of question. In the computer-based exam, it's a drag and drop often, or you have to put the letter in as well. In the paper-based, you just put the letter in. Okay. So A, volunteering, B, charity, C, neither. 12, affects fewer people, but may be highly inefficient. Number 12, what was the right answer? So not many people affected, but can be inefficient, meaning it doesn't work. Workway says B, charity. Akira says A, volunteering. Zippy says B. It's a tricky one. The correct answer is C. It's neither. Okay. So charitable giving affects a lot of people, but can be inefficient. Volunteering might affect fewer people, but it's very efficient. The correct answer is C. It's neither of them. Can be problematic for various reasons. If you get one wrong, don't panic. Go to the next question. Check out why that's the answer later in the answer key and in the transcripts, the back of the book. For all of you who have access to our premium IELTS course and have these books, check the transcripts. Check why you got it wrong, okay? Yes, correct. B, it's charity, right? Charity can be problematic, and you should get that correct. The person talks about that in a lot of detail. Okay. let's go to number 14 as almost always a positive action for society. Which one is that? So basically always good. Well, if number 13 is B, then logic tells us that number 14 should be A. That's right. Yeah. So if you're volunteering your time, if you go and you help people, go to school and sing and play with children, you're helping, right? You go to a soup kitchen and you give food to people who are hungry, you're helping, right? So it's a positive. Number 15, subject to many overhead costs. Now, for all of the business students out there, you should know this word overhead cost. Okay, so it's the expenses that are associated with operating a business. That's your overhead cost, your employees, your rental fees, your equipment fees, office fees. Okay. It is A is volunteering, B is charitable giving, C is neither. Overhead costs, B, right? Charities. When you give money to organizations like Helping Hand or UNICEF or World Wildlife Federation, Greenpeace, they have to cover their expenses. And for some of those organizations, that's a lot of money, like millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? So those are all overhead costs. Okay. So C, B, A, B, those were the correct answers. Okay, if you have difficulty, don't worry. Especially for those of you who do have premium access and can listen again and again. You have to listen to find out what's going on. Okay, next one, another one of these multiple choice. These sure are popular in the IELTS, so you have to be good at them. This one says, for number 16, again, just one question, so you have to get both. So this one is saying choose two letters, A to E. What are two reasons charities can be inefficient? Inefficient means not efficient. So you take notes, and these were my notes here. So why are charities like UNICEF or like Helping Hand, why can they potentially be not effective? Okay, well, one, they're given too much money. They just don't really need that much money to create change, and they're using a lot of money for administration, and then less than 10% goes to the end cause. So they give a couple of reasons for that. Must pay salaries of employees. Yeah, that seems okay. They give less than 10% of money they receive to the actual cause. The promotion of the charity, doing the most good with the least money. Some causes are not as important as others. Okay, which ones are the right answers here? So, inefficient. A, they must pay the salaries of the employees, right? They say that. And the promotion, they have to advertise, right? So those are the two best choices that are clearly said by the speaker. Right? This, we don't know. Is it efficient? Is it not efficient? Doing the most good, that doesn't make sense. And some causes are not as important as others. That doesn't make sense either, right? So A and C are clear in that one. Okay? He says that very clearly. He's like, charities can be inefficient because they need to pay the cost of all the employees and all the marketing, the advertising. It's in the transcripts. If you're not sure, check the transcripts. Does everybody know what I mean when I say transcripts? Okay. Transcripts are at the back of the book. In this case, for this one, it's page 134. Let me move the chat here and then I can show you. So we'll come back to page 44 here in a moment. And I'll show you here real quick what I mean. So you're not like, what? Okay. Here we go. So this is track 2 here. You see it here. And here you have the transcripts. This is what they're saying. So Emma says, I'd like to welcome our listeners to Beyond the Lens. So you see number 11 right there, Beyond the Lens. Okay. And then Professor Hudson repeats this, says Beyond the Lens right there again. Okay. And then you see all the other answers here, and number 16 is here. The rest goes to salaries, promotion, and other overhead costs. See the answers for 15 and 16. Okay? All right? So those are the specific answers that are given by the professor. So if you're not sure, check the transcripts. Any good materials, any good study materials will have the transcripts for the listening part. You should not really be studying too much listening from materials where you don't have the transcripts because it's kind of useless. You can't figure out what the language is in written form. Okay. All right, let's jump back to 44. Here we go. All right. So flowchart. You had a little bit of a break. Then you had a flowchart. Flowchart, remember the pattern, okay? The strategy with a flowchart is that you have a pattern. Let me just draw this back here. And watch the pattern here. So here you have charity at the top, and then you have the right and you have the left, okay? All right, here you have heart disease on one side. So there's going to be some kind of an opposition here. And that's what I was trying to show you when we were doing the listening, is the oppositions between the two sides. And so they mentioned MND, which goes here, okay, into number 17. But make sure that you don't actually write MND. Make sure you write F. Okay, F is the correct answer. Now, here the speaker does a really good job explaining how some charities get a lot of money even though it doesn't affect a lot of people, while other charities don't get as much money where it affects a lot of people, right? So hopefully you understood that clearly, right? So then you got F there. Okay. And then here you notice the opposites, right? So affects many people. So then here it would be affects few people. So it would be A, right? Good. Akira got it. Harjot got it. Sylviana got it. Nice. So you see the oppositions there. That makes sense. Good use of funds, bad use of funds. What's a way to say bad? Well, it's here. It's kind of clouded by my marking, but you see this one here. It's an inefficient use of funds. So B. Okay. So here the answers are F, A, and B. Okay, for those three. All right, that was a little bit of an easier question after those more difficult ones there beforehand. Okay, and then we had one final question. According to the guest, what is the main goal of charitable giving? Now here, if you listen to the whole conversation and you really paid attention, you should be able to get it. So was it doing research, importance of giving to good causes, or maximizing good? Nice, a lot of you got it. Yeah, it was C. He's all about just maximizing good in the world, right? So am I. That Professor Hudson and I, we have that in common. Maximizing good in the world. That's why earlier I put my a little opinion in there about the unified global world where we're all one people working towards a common goal to discover our alien friends in other parts of the universe. No, not just that, but to live in a harmonious, peaceful, and most of the time happy civilization where we get along with the planet, the animals, and each other. Okay, so maximizing good in the world. That was the final answer. Question, everybody. How old am I? That's what Baggy wants to know. How old is Adrian? Some of you know. I'm younger than I look. How many did you get? This is my question, not how old am I. How many did you get correct from 20? So we've done the first 20 questions. Oh, you're all too kind. You've done the first 20 questions. How many did you get correct? Marvel. I'm not that old. I'm somewhere between Marvel and Fwong. Zippy, 17 is good. Okay, so how many did you get from 20? Zippy says 17. 17 is good. For part 1 and part 2, you want to be at kind of a 16 or more. Okay, so you want to be at a 16 or more. All right, if you're getting less than 16 on part 1 and 2, work hard, listen lots, read lots. That's because part 2, part 3 are more challenging. We will do part 2 and part 3 in next week's classes. Okay, so make sure to follow with us. Make sure to subscribe. A lot of you in the chat are subscribers. A lot of our viewers, make sure to subscribe. By the way, students, if you're really curious, I am 42. I think in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they said that that's the secret answer to what is the purpose of life. 42. Maybe I get that now. All right, so if you're less than 16, okay, practice lots for listening. Follow these strategies. Make sure to check out the website. We've got 6 full practice exams with all of this audio here. We've got 4 more coming for you. You can print the practice exams in PDF. You've got the computer-based practice exams. You've got the student partner speaking. You've got so much on these websites. So be sure to go to the websites and sign up for the premium package. It's a one-time payment. It really doesn't cost a lot of money. And you can sign up by clicking the big red button. Okay, I'm a British Council agent. We're certified partners and affiliates of British Council IDP. Thank you, Carolina, for helping out. Thank you, members, for your participation. Thank you to all of our subscribers for your support. It's awesome to have you here with me today. Students, again, if you have questions, my email, adrian@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. And I will be back tomorrow with Speaking Part 2 Cue Card and Speaking Part 3. And I will talk to students, to members, to viewers, and to premium users of our website. I will be asking you questions, giving you band scores and estimates. So participate in tomorrow's Speaking Part 2. To join our premium course, click the link in the video description. You'll find it there. It was awesome having you here with me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your Friday or a good start to Saturday. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria, Canada. I'll see you tomorrow. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.